Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting adventure at the Hub World. My name is Jules, and today I am joined by.
Matteo?
And Gino.
And today we're going to be covering another episode of our Sonic the Hedgehog month. This will be the Sonic the Hedgehog tier list. Whether you're joining us from YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, or Google Podcast, be sure to give us a like or a follow. So we're going to get this rolling. No pun intended. So the tier list is actually a new format that we've actually had in the works for a long time. Like, we've actually recorded tier list episodes that just never really worked out. So this will actually be our first official tier list episode as kind of the grand finale to our Sonic month. Just to give you an idea of what it is, we're doing a live tier list for you. We're going to go through a topic. We're going to plant contenders from within that topic on the tier list. Once something is put down, it cannot be moved unless there is a very special circumstance. So we don't want to like lock it in and be like, no, you can't move it, but we do want to make sure that we're not moving it unless we really, really, really need to. And we will also be, in addition to just ranking them tier wise, we will be ranking them from best to worst, because within the tiers we also will be ordering them from best to worst within the tiers. So what does this mean? Sonic the Hedgehog tier list. Does it mean characters? Does it mean games? Does it mean TV shows? Well, it does mean games, and specifically, this is the main series of Sonic the Hedgehog. In addition to a couple of select spin-off games that we've decided to throw into the list because we've all played them and we feel like they should be there for better or for worse. And we're going to be going through the games chronologically and placing them. So, do we got a good sense of the rules? We're ready to go?
Yep.
Okay. Then let's kick it off with where Sonic the Hedgehog all began. We have Sonic the Hedgehog, the original game. Would anybody like to just give us an idea of where this should go, where they feel this should go?
I will. I feel like Sonic the Hedgehog is a solid, like, B tier Sonic game. It's not very long, it's very simple, and honestly, I find that aside from like Green Hill Zone, nothing else really stands out for me in terms of like really, really good or really, really bad levels. So, like, as a package, I would think it would just be a B tier game.
Yeah, it gives you a good starting point for the franchise, and yeah, I would agree with Matteo. Solid B.
I 100% agree with everything said. I do think it, like, I'm sure as we go through the list, we're going to notice that maybe it's on the upper end of the B, but considering some of the games that came after, I do think it deserves to be in B and not A.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll go from there. So let's throw Sonic the Hedgehog 1 over here in the B tier. Okay, next up, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, the game that introduced Tails, the game that introduced Supersonic, I believe.
My gut reaction is it belongs in A. It took everything that worked from Sonic 1 and just improved on it across the board.
Yeah, it also added the local multiplayer, so you could have Sonic and Tails racing against each other, I believe. Or it wasn't like a traditional level; it was kind of like a miniature level, I believe. And we played that on the Genesis quite a bit when we were younger. Yeah,
I think the music's better in Sonic 2. And also one of my favorite levels, Chemical Plant Zone's in that one. So just the scope of that game is better across the board.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, the scope is much grander, like it's bigger. I think it's just like everything that's good from Sonic 1 and just bigger and better. And I agree. I think it should go in A. Where it ends up within A is to be determined, but I do think it's a solid A.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Easy goings. Throwing it up in A. I apologize. My Photoshop isn't going to let me put it perfect, but that's okay.
everyone's forgiving on the internet.
Yes, exactly. Okay, we have Sonic CD, the game that introduced Amy. It introduced Metal Sonic, had the amazing song Sonic Boom. They had the time travel mechanic. Now, I'm a big advocate for Sonic CD. I don't know exactly where I want to put it, but I think it's definitely A, if not S. I'm wary to say S, but definitely A.
Yeah, I wouldn't put this in an S tier. I think there's only like a few games that are like select S tier. I would believe this would be either high B, low A.
I for sure think it's A. It's just whether I like it more than Sonic 2 or not.
So let's ask this question first, because we do only have 3 games on the board right now. Gino, you had said potentially in B. Do you think it should be above or below Sonic 1?
I would definitely put it above Sonic 1 because it definitely adds on the base Sonic the Hedgehog experience. You have new characters, you have more fleshed out mechanics with like the time travel thing. It's just a larger scope, right? So it would have to be higher than the previous game, right? Just because time has passed.
Okay, so that's good to know then. So I personally would put it above 2, but it sounds like Gino wouldn't. How do you feel about that, Matteo?
Out of the original Sonic games, CD's the one I've played the least. So I don't have the best memory about it. I remember really, really, really liking it, but I think I have to put it under Sonic 2. That might change once Origins Collection comes out, but as of now, I wouldn't feel comfortable putting it above Sonic 2.
Okay, I can live with that. So we're gonna put it beside Sonic 2 on the A tier here. Let's see if it'll let me. Oh, there you go. Let me move it the other one down. It's a little bit more symmetrical now. There you go. Sonic CD placed in A tier, just below Sonic 2. Okay, so now we're on to Sonic 3 and Knuckles. I will kick this off. I think this is the one of the only S tier Sonic games.
Yep, I would agree.
It's like Sonic. If it was just Sonic 3 or just Sonic and Knuckles, I think then it's like it still would be a contender for S, but there's a little bit more of an argument about whether it should go there. But the full package, like the full game as it was intended to be, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, is absolutely an S tier game. Like it's pretty much 2 games in one. Both games are fantastic. You have multiple playable characters, like multiple ways to approach the levels. The music is fantastic. The zones are fantastic. Like it really is like potentially the best Sonic game out there.
All right, so I'm happy you said that because I didn't have to. Yeah, I think it should be S tier also. So that's three votes for S tier.
There you
Sonic
go.
3 and Knuckles. The one I'm looking forward most to replaying.
Yep. This one's not going to let me go perfect either, but maybe it'll let me later once something else is in there. If something else is in there. So we're through the classic era of Sonic already, and we have nothing below B, which is not surprising. But now we move on to the first modern game, Sonic Adventure.
This might be one of the most difficult games for me to place.
Yeah, this is know why this is hard for me to place because we don't know where everything else is going yet.
It's not just that, is that my opinion of this game has changed so much. It's like Mario 64, but for Sonic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Until recently, I've looked at this game with like rose colored glasses, okay? And my most recent playthrough of it, I actually considerably liked it less. But if I look through it through the eyes of myself when I was a child and how significant this game was when it came out, like, and there still is legitimately good moments in this game, and I'm trying not to consider all the bad, but like, I think for sure it's an A tier, I think,
I
but I think it's probably lowest on A tier.
I personally can't imagine this game being an A tier at all. Like I think giving it B tier is generous, and that's where I would want it. Like I would want to be generous to this game because I really like this game, and I think its highs are really high, but its lows are too low for me to say that it's a better game than the first Sonic game, and it's way too low for me to put it in an A. That's
Yeah.
my opinion. Like I don't know. Like I think it's a solid B tier. Like I think it's a solid game. It's definitely aged more poorly than it needed to be, but there are quite a bit of gameplay portions in this game that just didn't even just age poorly, just like were never good. And that's why I think it's in B. Like I think it's B because you can it's like on a test, right? Like if you're looking at like somebody writing a test, like it nails what it nails. Like it's in some sections of the test, you just killed it, but in other sections of the test you just bombed it. And it's like as a teacher, I would never be able to look at a student's work, and if they had that many blatant like flaws, be able to say like this is A work. I would be like, yeah, like as much as like your highs are high, like it's a B because there's too many lows. Like that's the way I look at Sonic Adventure. Is like I really like it. The package is acceptable. Like it's definitely a strong game, but there's too many weak points for me to say it's an A tier. A tier is very high.
I would peg this game as a B also, just because of like, okay, taking off my nostalgia glasses, like, albeit if we were 10 years ago and we also had the list for the 10 years ago games, this would be higher up. Times have changed, right? And as much
Yeah.
as I love the music, as much as I love the end boss, as much as I love that opening cutscene, the in between is usually where this game falls apart, particularly in the Amy and Big gameplay for me personally. But Knuckles gameplay gets a little boring
Yeah.
later on. The Chow Garden's still great to this day, but like really like Sonic and E103 are the two like gameplay modes that I keep going back to, and like I can have fun with them. So yeah,
Yeah.
this is a solid B. Like textbook
Yeah.
definition, and it sets a good precedent for the stuff that comes after this.
So then where on B does it go?
We can adjust the left and right also like later on.
Once it's placed, it's placed.
Yeah, I would do
So-
it now. So I would say like just the question right now is does it go before or after Sonic the Hedgehog? Like that's the only thing we need to answer.
I'd say before.
I would vote higher than Sonic 1 also.
I personally disagree, but I also don't think I don't feel super strongly about it.
Sonic 1 is such a short game, and like you still have a lot of agency on how you want to consume Sonic Adventure. You could just play Sonic's story and be done with the game if you want. Like you don't have to go through all the other campaigns.
No, you don't have to convince me. I like agree with you guys. Like I
Yeah.
personally disagree, but I also see the argument.
Yeah.
So then we will move this little guy over and insert this one over here. There you go. Sonic Adventure taking the top B slot. Okay, now we got Sonic Adventure 2. Now, this is my opinion. Regardless of how people feel about Sonic Adventure versus Sonic Adventure 2, I think both of them are very comparable in quality, and I think they should be in the same tier. Like I don't think that there's enough, like regardless of what your opinion is on the two games, because they're arguable, but whether you think Adventure 2 is better or worse, the better or worse is not significant enough to put it in a different tier. That's my
I
opinion.
agree. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, now the question is, where does it go? Now I will open this because I feel like I feel stronger about Sonic Adventure 2 versus Sonic Adventure than you guys do, but I think that it should go between Adventure and Sonic the Hedgehog.
I also agree.
I was going to suggest that actually too.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
I don't think it's a better game than Sonic Adventure 1. I think Adventure 2 has aged worse almost than Sonic Adventure 1 has. So like I'm happy we don't have to have this discussion.
I mean,
So-
I again, like my personal opinion is I do like Sonic Adventure 2 better, mostly because it cuts down some of the bad gameplay mechanics, but at the same time it still has bad gameplay mechanics in it. And there are like a lot of pros in Sonic Adventure, like the hub worlds and things like that. So, and I do like Sonic Adventure 2 better. I think it has a better story. I think it has better characters. Arguably, think it has better music. But I do think Sonic Adventure is like more epic, and like I like the exploration.
yeah.
So
The thing that always bothered me is that I don't have the agency to play the game how I want to. Like you can only play the hero or the dark story, and then you can't choose to play Sonic's story through it. It doesn't have that interconnected. It has an interconnected story, but it's not to the same scale as Sonic Adventure 1. Like, and that's the one thing. Like, I don't want to play as Tails. I don't want to play as Eggman or Rouge or Knuckles. Like, I just want to play as Sonic. I want to play as Shadow. Like, and you can't just do that. So
that's fair. Okay, Sonic Heroes.
I'm not going to lie. I'm not nearly as attached to this game as I think you guys are. I think this is like C tier at best.
And I agree with you.
Yeah.
I like Sonic Heroes. Don't get me wrong. Sonic Heroes is one of the most hated games in the Sonic fandom, and I don't understand the hate because I actually really, really like Sonic Heroes. But I do acknowledge the fact that all four stories are the exact same levels, and I do acknowledge that the gameplay is a little bit divisive because it's like a team-based mechanic. But I do really like Heroes. I just don't think it's as good as the adventure games, and I think that quality dip is enough to dip it down one tier, but I don't think it should go more. Like I think a C tier is like an average Sonic game. Like this is acceptable. Like it's not a bad game, and that's what I look at as Heroes. Is like Heroes not a bad game by any means, but it's also not like it's not a great game either.
Mhm.
You know, like it's an okay game depending on how you feel about it. It can be a good game. It can be a not good game.
I personally found it like very samey across the board, and I dreaded the fact that I had to do Team Rose, and by the time I had finished that campaign, I'm like, I have no drive to do the chaotic stuff, even though I was looking forward to doing the chaotic stuff. Like I fell into the trope of like, okay, do Sonic Story first, then you do Shadows, then you do Amy's, and then you do SPOs in that order. Even though the game devs wanted you to play through Team Rose first because it was the like, and it has like this mandatory unskippable tutorial mission. If you're a person playing this game and you chose to do it in the same order that I said, Sonic, Shadow, Amy, you already know how to play the game and you can't skip this tutorial.
Yeah,
And it's annoying.
that is very true. I never even thought about that.
Like nowhere in the game does it say start with Team Rose if you're new to gaming, or start with Team Rose just so you can get this tutorial out of the way.
Sonic Heroes is like one of those games that I do have fond memories of, but it's been such a long time since I played it. But yeah, I do agree, and it's in C tier. But like, spoiler alert, I think there's gonna be a lot of games in C tier, so where it's placed in there is gonna be very, very, very interesting.
Yeah, I agree. We'll save that for when things pop up. Okay, now we're on to like the first non like main series Sonic game. It's like the first spin-off to pop up, but we wanted to include it because we stan this character. But Shadow the Hedgehog. I've played Shadow the Hedgehog as a kid, and I love Shadow the Hedgehog as a kid. And I played through every one of those paths, all 5 stories, both evil and good route. I completed that game 100%. Okay, on my most recent playthrough, I was super excited to play this game because I was like, I want to re-experience it, and I had a blast that first playthrough. By the second one, by the time I got to the end, I was like, I've had enough of this game. And I hadn't even, and that's the thing is, if you don't go through all the routes, you don't even get to play all the levels. But I was already done. Like the thing with Shadow the Hedgehog is like all the levels are mission based. They're all like complete this mission, and then there's so much like redoing the same level over and over again that it becomes tedious, and the gameplay is less tight than even in Heroes or the adventure games. I think Shadow the Hedgehog, it is an E tier. It's by no means the worst Sonic game, but it is not C tier. It is a D tier game. That is my
Yep,
opinion. Shadow is like a step lower than Heroes.
fair enough. I feel like that is like arguably the community consensus is that it's in that D range, and like it's been forever since I played Shadow the Hedgehog also, so I can't see it being a better experience than I remembered as a kid. Like it only goes downhill. Like as good as the music is in that game, I will defend the music till the day I die. But it's a D tier.
I haven't played it enough to be able to contribute meaningfully, so I will defer to your judgments.
Sorry, Shadow. You're a great character, but unfortunately, your game needed some work.
All fail Shadow.
Okay. Now this is our second quote unquote spin off. It's not really a spin off, it's not main series. But Sonic Rush. I was a big advocate for putting this one on because I am playing it right now and I've played it many, many times. Have either of you guys played Sonic
This is the
Rush?
PSP one, right?
No, this is the DS one.
Oh,
This is Blaze the Cat's introduction.
I remember playing it like at a demo kiosk at like an EB Games or Toys R Us or something. I don't remember exactly where back in the day when it came out, but I've never owned it, never played it aside from that demo experience.
Okay. So I'm the only one speaking to this one then?
Mhm.
And you guys have to trust me.
All right.
This is an A tier Sonic game.
Oh, well.
This
Okay.
game, I'm not kidding. This game, like I just played through the Sonic Advance games, and I like the Sonic Advance games. I would put, and the Sonic Advance games aren't on this tier list, but if I was going to place the Sonic Advance games, I'd put them all at B tier. And the reason I'd put them all at B tier is because the Sonic Advance games do kind of what the modern Sonic games do with Sonic, which is they forget that Sonic doesn't always need to go fast. Like the original Sonic games knew that. there were portions where you did have to slow down in order to take different paths. There was platforming. It wasn't just about holding right and going, you know? Whereas Sonic Advance seemed to forget that. And when I played through all 3 Sonic Advance games, that's what it felt like. It felt like I could hold right, jump a few times, and get through all the levels. There wasn't really a lot of slowing down. Sonic Rush is very much the perfect blend of like modern Sonic gameplay with the boost gameplay. It actually is the first game to have the boost gameplay, and I think that's where the boost gameplay comes from. Is because this game was received very well, but it also knows that you can slow down a Sonic game. Like there's so many portions where like you literally are just like walking and platforming because there's obstacles, and I love that in a Sonic game. I don't think he always needs to be running. There's points where he needs to be running and he's grinding and it's fun, and there's points where you slow down and you do platforming. But this game is solid. Like I highly recommend playing this one. This is like one of the best 2D Sonic games.
I'll have to pick it up.
Because you guys haven't played it, I'm going to say let's put it at the end of A tier for now. I don't really want to touch the other ones, but I appreciate that you guys are taking my word for that it should be an A.
If I don't like it, then this list loses its validity, Jules.
Hey, I can let you borrow my Sonic Rush.
I'd be down.
The funny thing is I'm not playing it on the actual cartridge right now. I'm actually playing it on an emulator if you ever want to borrow it. It's also the introduction of Blaze the Cat, which is really awesome. So there are 2 stories, which is fun. Sonic at its best is with multiple characters. Okay, now the one and only Sonic 06.
Right to E, straight to E.
No, I will fight this. Sonic the Hedgehog should not be an E tier. In fact, and this might come as a surprise, I'm pushing this. Sonic the Hedgehog should be in C tier. There is nothing wrong with Sonic the Hedgehog other than the fact that it is an unpolished mess. In my opinion, this game would be on that same level as like Sonic Adventure, maybe even higher. Like it would be a B or A tier game if it was polished, and I think that unpolished puts it in C.
But if you're actively fighting against the game's systems and loading screens,
but I don't think you're actively fighting against it. Like I think, like
right,
honestly,
it doesn't give you a choice. You just have to sit there and wait.
No, I disagree. I'll be honest. Like I
you just
played
gotta
this.
sit there and take it.
I bought an Xbox 360. Okay, I had my first non-Nintendo console. I bought an Xbox 360 for this game, and I loved it when I played it. I adored it. And then the internet gaslit me, and they told me it was bad, and it had all these issues, bad issues, loading times, falling through the floor, all this stuff. And I was like, okay, I guess like I just ignored those things when I played it as a kid. And now I just replayed it, and honestly, people are dramatic. Yes, the loading times are awful. They're terrible. They're not nearly as bad as people make them out to be. And yes, there's definitely glitchy parts where like things don't
Silver
really
can
work
defeat
out.
you, and you can't do anything about it.
But that's not a glitch. That's just like that's a strategy. Like you have to actually avoid him. Like that's not a glitch. That's like
There are some unavoidable attacks.
there's
And
there's
you can
unavoidable
soft lock
attacks.
you.
No. There are unavoidable attacks, but there's a method to beating him because you're not supposed to attack him. You're supposed to wait till he's charging an attack and then you attack him. That's a design. That's what I mean. It's like I feel like this game gets a lot of criticism, and all the things that people don't like are them being like, "Oh, this is just glitches, blah blah blah." But it's not. Like there's a lot of stuff that people are just like, "Oh, well, I didn't like this," or they didn't even try to actually figure out how to do something, and they would just like they just discredit it and was like, oh, poorly designed, bad glitches, this stuff. And it's not. Like really when I played the game, I was like, okay, yes, there's some walls that are glitchy. I'm just gonna avoid that wall. Like 85% of the map still works. Like I genuinely don't think Sonic the Hedgehog was any more glitchy than Sonic Adventure or Sonic Adventure 2. I think the only issue is the frame rate and the load times. And don't get me wrong, they're awful. Sometimes I was playing at 5 frames per second and it was terrible. And, sometimes I was waiting a minute in a load time.
Like I wouldn't put it above Shadow the Hedgehog that doesn't have those types of issues.
But here's the thing is we have to quantify this. Is I think Sonic the Hedgehog is a well-designed game that's unpolished versus Shadow the Hedgehog is just a poorly designed game. And that's my opinion is like what's the merit here? And I think Sonic the Hedgehog deserves to be C tier because it's well designed, has a killer soundtrack, boss battles are great, characters are great. Like I would rather, in my opinion, be stuck in minutes of load time and be in 5 frames per second sometimes than have to deal with a full campaign as Knuckles in Sonic Adventure 1 and 2.
I would rather sit through boring gameplay that looks nice rather than having nice gameplay that doesn't let me play it. I would put this high D tier above Shadow the Hedgehog. I would not put it in C.
My question is, have you played it?
I have tried a long time ago, and I don't want to go back.
I'm a strong advocate. Hey, you can put this at the bottom of C tier for all I care, but I think it should be C tier. I am so internally attached to this game. Like, I believe in this game.
But this is the thing, though. If it's at the bottom of C or the top of D, it's like basically the same place.
It's not the same thing. It's not.
I'll put it on the line between C and D. Put it on the line.
No.
On the line.
Put it on the line.
No, you
It's
have
in
to
between.
put it.
We haven't
You have
decided
to
yet.
put it in a tier. Like, I hate the design of Dr. Eggman in that game. I've been watching a lot of Sonic videos on YouTube. I actually just bought Sonic 06 again the other day, and I do plan on playing it and giving it a chance just because of how highly you've spoken of it in the last few weeks, Jules. But like, I'm gonna laugh every time I see Sonic like bounce off the walls the way he does and go fall through the floor and see Sonic
He doesn't. That's the thing.
kiss
He
human
doesn't.
child. Like,
Okay, sure. That's
that
bad.
that is like, I don't like that. An unpolished game is an unpolished game. Like, maybe if I play through it on PC in this like enhancement like fan mod thing, I would appreciate the game more, but I don't know, like as it is, I agree it's either high D or like bottom C.
I was so nice to you guys about Sonic Adventure. I didn't put up a fight because I know how much you guys love Sonic Adventure. Please grant me the bottom of C tier for the game that I believe should be more regarded than it is.
Fine, it's C tier, but it goes all the way to the right. All the way to the right.
What is
Sure.
there? Sure, fine.
Everything is better. All the way over there. There you go. All the way by itself.
Thank you. Thank you for granting me Sonic 06 at the bottom of C tier. The highest place I believe it could ever achieve in its current state.
I think this is the highest place it's ever been on the internet.
It is not by any means the worst Sonic game, and I will die by that
Oh yeah,
logic.
Secret Rings is worse. Yeah. Oh, that's what we're coming up
speaking
with
of
next.
Secret
Okay, there we
Rings,
go. D. Straight to D.
I think that yes, I think Sonic and Secret Rings is a straight up D game, and this is
Yeah.
the funny thing, and I believe this regardless of where we're putting things on the tier list. When Sonic and the Secret Rings came out, it came out about a month after Sonic 06, and everybody was like, "This is the good Sonic game of this year. Like this game's actually good." In hindsight, people were stupid. Sonic and the Secret Rings, I think, is one of the worst Sonic games, like easily. Like I think it's easily worse than Sonic 06.
If this game didn't exist, maybe Sonic 06 would have been better.
I don't think it's worse than Sonic 06 necessarily, but it's still a D tier game. Like, probably higher than Shadow the Hedgehog, but it's still D.
I think you should go lower than Shadow the Hedgehog, but that's up to you guys.
Actually, no, I agree with you because I Am All of Me is the tiebreaker, and they chose to use the bad version of Seven Rings in Hand for this game. So
Also, let's not forget that the whole concept behind Sonic the Secret Rings was, what if it's Sonic, but he can't stop running?
I don't mind that part. It's just the fact that the Wii was an underpowered machine, and just I don't think the game controlled well on the Wii remote, and I just wasn't a fan of the whole theme of the game. Like, I'm like the Arabian Nights type story. Didn't do it with me. All the storybook games, I feel like I just don't get why they needed to tell Sonic stories that way.
I like the concept, but I don't know, the execution of at least Sonic and the Secret Rings wasn't great.
So I'm fine with D below Shadow the Hedgehog.
Gino, what say you?
I forgot that Sonic couldn't stop in this game. I remember
Yeah.
like putting this game in the Wii once or twice, trying it out when we had it, and then just never going back because I didn't like it.
Yeah, though he's constantly running. You flick the Wii remote up to make him jump, and then flick it again to make him do a homing attack.
Yeah.
That's basically the entire. And you steer like a steering wheel to move him.
And he can like slide and stuff too.
Yeah.
Okay, then it's either D or E for me. Do we make this the first E game?
I don't think this
It-
deserves to be E. I think E is a special reserved place for the worst of the worst. And I don't even think Sonic and Secret Rings is the worst of the worst, to be honest.
Okay, so this is bottom of D right now.
Okay. Next up, Sonic Unleashed. Now, some people in the Sonic community have this game on their list twice as Sonic Unleashed and Sonic Unweashed. And Unleashed is the Wii version, which is essentially a different game. But for us, we're only doing Sonic Unleashed, the main version. We're looking at the 360 PS3 one, even though people say it's not the best one. It is.
We're probably going to be referencing the fact that how much better this game is on Xbox Series X and Series S.
Yeah, and I just played it on Series X, and it's 60 frames per second. But even without that, because the original game did not have frame rate issues. I'll be honest, I think this game of any Sonic game has aged the best. I think this game was so underrated when it came out, and I literally, when I put this game in, I did not expect to like it the way I did. If I was getting my way, I would give it A, to be honest, but I think it should be in B. I think it's definitely on the same level as I think in the same tier as Sonic Adventure and Adventure 2. Maybe not going to say it's better, but I definitely think this is the peak of the modern Sonic gameplay, in my opinion. But it also does have the Werehog kind of dragging it down, the same way that we talk about Sonic Adventure and Adventure 2. Some of the gameplay is really good, some of the gameplay isn't, but I think the gameplay that is good is high enough to give it a B. I would give this game a B. I would say that this is at the very least a 73 out of 100, which is a B by Canadian high school standards.
I'm starting at B. That's where I will not consider it less than B. I only played it when it came out very briefly, and then Gino traded the game in.
We traded in for Batman Arkham Asylum, Matteo. It was worth it.
Obviously. But I will be playing this game soon on Xbox Series X. I can't express how much I'm looking forward to this, because even before any of us started replaying Sonic games, I always thought this was going to be the one that we were going to like the most, because I kept hearing all these positive things about how it runs on Xbox and that the boost gameplay is so good and Sonic feels so fast in that. I love that element of Sonic, especially modern Sonic games. I just love the boost gameplay. I know it's just a lot of the time just press forward, but the sense of speed you get is really, really amazing.
But in Sonic Unleashed, it wasn't just press forward. That's what's so impressive about it, is there was a lot of slowed down platformy parts. It was really really well done.
And even on a music front, Endless Possibilities is also highly underrated, and Rooftop Run's fantastic, and just even the main theme of the game, I think, is so good too. I'm not as down on the Werehog as a lot of other people are either, and that might just be nostalgia from 2007 or whatever it was that's talking for me. But I think if I really, really, really like this game, I'm gonna rate it higher than Sonic Adventure on this tier list. But I think just for the sake of the fact that I haven't played the game in its entirety, I'll put it under Sonic Adventure 1.
See, I would put it under Battle, just because I haven't played it in such a long time. It's definitely most games I feel would be better than the original Sonic the Hedgehog if they are in the B tier.
Yeah,
and that's no slight to Sonic the Hedgehog. It's the first game, and it was just because it's the first one. There are improvements that are going to be made all across the board.
And I'm inclined to say agree with Gino, because I personally think that how close Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2 is I don't think anything goes between them, personally. I think those games are together. I think it's either it's above Adventure or it's below Adventure 2. I wouldn't put it between, personally.
Well, it's up to you guys then, because
for now, why don't we be generous and we say it's below Adventure 2? Because, I really do think this game is solid, but I want to sit on it for a bit. And I want to see what Matteo thinks after he replays it. But I think for now,
I just have that feeling about this game. It's just I know already before even playing it, it is aged better than the two adventure games. So
yes, it definitely has aged better than the two adventure games. But then there's also a lot of highs that the adventure games have that Unleashed doesn't have, right? Such as the characters, the focus on characters, interconnected stories, Chow Gardens. Sonic Unleashed does have a lot of its gameplay locked behind collecting medals, and there's pros and cons there. I think there's an argument to be made for either of them being higher on the B tier, but I think ultimately I do think it's safe in the B tier if you really wanted to say I really favor this game, it could go up to A, but I don't know if everybody's ready to do that yet. So I think B is a safe place.
Okay, moving on.
Ready? Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 1 E tier. This is the worst Sonic game.
Yep.
It's boring. It's uninspired. I don't care that it's quote unquote polished. Like, you can polish it as much as you want. It ain't gonna shine. I'd rather have an unpolished Sonic 06, an unpolished gem that's rough and cuts you and hurts you every time you try to love it, than have a piece of that you shined as much as you could until it was like just less turdy. I don't know.
This game, it just reeks of mobile game. Like, there's just a lot of things that really don't sit well with me.
There were a lot of very questionable decisions about the Sonic.
Throw it down to E.
Easily the worst.
Easily.
Well, maybe not easily the worst, but we'll get there. Okay, Sonic Colors.
I'd like to start with Sonic Colors. I'm in the middle of playing Sonic Colors Ultimate right now. I'm 4 worlds in, and before my replay of this game, I would say Sonic Colors is easily like low A tier. But my opinion of this game has dropped a fair amount. I just can't stand the story of the game, and I know like that didn't really bother me the first time, but now this time go around, it's just annoying, and it's bothering me a little more. The boost gameplay is fine, but the side scrolling, the 2D sort of gameplay, for lack of a better term, is really, really, really bothering me. Like, his jump is terrible in this game. It's so slippery, and a lot of the times when I want to double jump over a ledge, I end up grabbing the ledge and jumping back the way I came, and like it bothers me, and the wisps are annoying, and just for me it's a low B, like below Sonic 1 or high C.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think there was a time where people would have put this at A tier because Sonic had this perceived low streak. And I think it was very much a perceived low streak. But then again, when you look at things like Sonic Heroes, Sonic 06, Shadow, like Sonic Secret Ring, Sonic 4, like there was quite a lot. And people were pretty sour on Unleashed. So I could see why this game looked like a white knight when it came out. But like, in hindsight, like, I think Unleashed is better than Colors. I still think Colors is really good. Don't get me wrong. I think it still deserves to be in the B tier, but I don't think this game should be an A. Like, I don't think there's anything revolutionary about this game. Like, I think it's just a solid Sonic game.
Yeah, it is textbook definition B.
Yeah. Now the question is it after Unleashed? Is it after Sonic 1? Like, what are we thinking?
For sure it's after Unleashed. I would honestly rather play Sonic 1 than Sonic Colors at this point.
I would say C tier then, because I envision Sonic the Hedgehog 1 being the end of B.
I agree with you in concept, Gino. I could not put it in the same tier as Heroes. I think this game is a B. Like, but I'm okay putting it before Sonic 1. Like, I think it should be before Sonic 1. Like, I think it should go Unleashed, then Sonic Colors, then Sonic 1.
That's all right then. Yeah, I can live with that. This does reflect the fact that I don't. It definitely has lost its shine to me a little bit.
Yeah.
So
I think that shine again, like, was very perceived because of how low Sonic had been. That like a game that was good after so long felt refreshing, right?
yeah, and you'd think like after playing Ultimate with the graphical boost and all the other enhancements that game has, I would appreciate it more. But no, like my experience playing through it on the Wii was way better than what I had right now.
Oh, also just like a little aside before we move on to the next one. You might be wondering right now why Sonic Rush Adventure hasn't shown up if we did Sonic Rush. That is because none of us have played it. I will be playing it soon. That is next on my list to play, but as of making this tier list, nobody has played it, so we can't really put it on. But I wanted to put the first Sonic Rush on because I really liked it. But aside away, we're on to the next one. Sonic Generations.
Yes.
Jules, you know my opinion of Sonic Generations. I would push hard for this to be S tier. This is my favorite Sonic game of all time. So, and I know like having too many games in S tier might dilute the whole tier itself, but I really think this game has both what makes classic Sonic so fantastic and modern Sonic. And the fact that it has like some of the best levels ever made in Sonic in both 2D and 3D, and then all like the whole package of it being an anniversary game and It brings back classic boss battles from the series as well, and the FPS boost and enhancements it has on Xbox Series X really make this game phenomenal. It has not aged a day. It's so good. For my money, at the very least, it's the best 3D Sonic game. So for me, it starts at S.
So my opinion of this game is that I think this game is incredible, but I don't think it's an S tier game. And I just think the reason I think that is, again, it goes with like distinction, and the games I envision as S tier I think are like a level above this game. And most of that comes from the fact that while I like Sonic Generations, I think it's very short. I think that there's a lot of like filler content in there. Like there's all these missions that like aren't really fun. They're just kind of there, and you have to do some of them to progress. I don't find the boss battles particularly well designed, while they're very exciting and nostalgic to replay them. Most of them are pretty meh, like gameplay wise, and I guess that's like my whole like opinion of Sonic Generations is like it is very strong, but what makes it strong is the fact that you're replaying old levels. I don't actually think that it in itself, like for example, if the exact same level that is the 2D City Escape was just not City Escape and it was reskinned, I don't think it would be looked at as such a good level. I think what makes a lot of the levels that they give us exciting is the fact that they're skinned and to the tune of a lot of the old games. But I don't think, like, if you actually look from a gameplay perspective, I don't think any of them are like particularly incredible. Like, I think they're definitely better than Colors and Unleashed. And I definitely think this is easily A tier, like easily. But I don't know if it's S tier for me.
Yeah, I'm kind of straddling the line between S and A for this one here. It's definitely high A in my opinion because Sonic Generations was just such a breath of fresh air. And sometimes the best thing for a developer to do is just, okay, what has made us successful in the past? And because this game came out after a string of kind of stinkers, for like lack of a better term. I know like Colors and Unleashed, we've just placed highly on these ones, but that was kind of like on the uptick. But before this game, for a long period of time, Sonic was considered to be
Yeah.
washed up at this point, and this is like, hey, no, that we can still be good, right?
Yeah, and this is the first like incredible Sonic game in like forever. That's the thing. It's like as much as Colors and even Unleashed like are good, like this was the first game where you're like, wow, this isn't just like a good Sonic game. Like this is a good game.
Yeah,
And
and
that's
it
where I
takes,
look at
yeah,
Generations.
and yes, okay, you have the reskinned versions of those levels like the City Escape or Chemical Plant Zone, but then it doesn't just copy them one for one. Then it does, okay, what would this level be like in the other Sonic's gameplay?
And that's what I
And that's
really
what I think
appreciated.
puts it at high A for me or top of A. It wouldn't be S because it's not inherently original, and I know that you have the two versions of the game, the portable one for the 3DS, and then you have the everything else version of the game.
Yeah, we're not talking about the portable one though. We are talking about the console one, just to clarify. But like I don't know, like, and that's the thing is like the other thing where I feel like it does kind of go to A more than S is that kind of what you were just saying, Gino. Like, yeah, it's really cool to see those levels done in 2D style, but the thing is, a lot of those middle games like Heroes and Adventure 2, as much as I love like the City Escape level and like the one
Speed
from
Highway.
Heroes, the Speed Highway, like as much as I love all those, you never really get real adventure representation. And I think that's what keeps it from being an S for me is that the modern Sonic gameplay, it's not like for the Colors and Unleashed, you're actually getting like recreations of those levels in the modern Sonic gameplay and then the alternative of the 2D one. But when you're in that middle period like Sonic Adventure, Adventure 2, Heroes, like neither of those styles is actually an accurate representation of that era, and I think that always kind of, as much as I liked the boost gameplay and as much as I liked the 2D gameplay, like part of it never felt like a true recreation, and that is most obvious in the Perfect Chaos boss battle where I'm like, this is epic because it's in HD, this is epic because Open Your Heart is playing even though it's an awful version of Open Your Heart.
Wasn't that bad.
Go back and re-listen.
I
It
don't
gets
mind
really
it.
bad. It's okay, but when it gets to the can't hold on much longer, they do this weird like effect to it, and it makes it sound awful. But anyway, that it's not the music that's the issue there. The issue is that the boss doesn't actually feel like the boss. Like it feels like you're just playing a reskinned other boss to look like Chaos in like a new style. And like I think that's my biggest issue with Generations is I really like it. I really like that it's an anniversary game, but it bothers me that like classic era and boost era both get to not only like these new styles I added to them, but also accurate representation. But the whole like middle, which I grew up with, doesn't get accurate representation in the slightest. Like it's just like here's two styles that aren't those things reskinned. Like I almost feel like it needed a third.
There actually may have been consideration for a third Sonic in that game, if I recall correctly. I don't mind if it's high A, but
Yeah, it should be high A for sure. Now, where should it go is the question. Like,
I think it's at the top of A.
you think top of A?
I would put top of A.
I personally would put it after two, but I'm fine with it being at the top.
Such is the cost of putting Sonic 06 in C tier.
Such is. Just another aside. I recently just played Sonic Generations on 3DS, which is a different game, same concept, but it pulls from, in some cases, different games because it pulls from Sonic Rush, as well. But the same games, different levels, and different bosses and things. And one part of it is better, which is the fact that you don't have to do all those missions. You can just go through all the levels. I like that. But ultimately, like if I were going to put the other Sonic Generations on here, I would either put it at the very bottom of A or somewhere in B. Like it's solid, but it's not as solid as the console version.
Isn't it even like shorter of a game?
It's shorter only because you don't have to do those missions, but the levels are long. And the modern Sonic levels are closer to like Sonic Rush than they are to like actual modern Sonic, and that's because it's still more like 2D ish with the boost gameplay. But it still feels really great. But I think with Sonic Generations 3DS, the big downside to it is the fact that they clearly chose the best levels for Sonic Generations console, and Sonic Generations 3DS kind of got the second choices, and you can like tell. Although there are a few gems like Radical Highway and Emerald Coast from Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, like I actually think those are incredible choices. Like I almost would have wanted Emerald Coast in
Yeah.
the console one, and I know why they didn't choose it because they went with the Sonic Heroes like waterish level.
Even had Mushroom Hill Zone, right? Like I wish Mushroom Hill Zone was in console generations, but tell me you can't put the first level or whatever or early levels from every game in there also.
Yeah, and it's definitely a good play. Like I honestly think it's a great experience to play that one as well, especially because I do feel like even the bosses, like there's a different. First of all, most of the bosses are completely different, except for the rivals. You still fight Metal Sonic, Shadow, and Silver. But the cool thing about those is they actually pull from Sonic Rivals, and rather than it being a boss fight, it's actually like a rival race through a level,
Yeah.
which is kind of cool. That they like kind of honor the portable side of Sonic. The only thing that I think was a missed opportunity in Sonic Generations 3DS, to be honest, is like I like that they pulled from Sonic Rush. They should have had like Sonic Advance, like a level for Sonic
Yes.
Advance in there. Like I think that they should have like maybe pulled out one of the Sonic Adventure levels or like pulled out maybe one of the Sonic like Heroes levels or something like that. But moving on, Sonic 4 Episode 2,
Is that one just as bad as part 1?
arguably worse.
Well, I only played 1. I didn't play part 2, so
I definitely think it's E tier.
They're both trash. It doesn't matter.
Maybe it's a bit better.
a bit better but still an E tier.
Yeah, these games are just bad. Especially after Sonic Generations. Like it's bad enough that you release Sonic 4 after something like Sonic Unleashed or Sonic and the Secret Rings and Sonic 06, like during like the quote unquote like bad era of Sonic. But come on, coming off of Sonic Colors and Sonic Generations, you're gonna release Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 2, like nah. Sonic Lost World.
I'd say this is a pretty solid C tier game.
I haven't played it. I just picked it up, but I'm actually looking forward to playing it because watching gameplay and stuff, it seems like the most Mario Sonic game out there. And just in terms of like level themes and it I know a lot of people like comparing it to Mario Galaxy and like, it does have like the visual sort of comparable to Mario, but I haven't played it. I know a lot of people say it's pretty middling, so like C is fine. It can't be worse than Shadow the Hedgehog and Sonic and the Secret Rings, and I don't necessarily think it could be better than Unleashed or the adventure games. So I'm fine with it being in C tier.
Am I the only one who played it?
I'm going to play it eventually. I have not played it yet.
I watched gameplay and stuff of it. I haven't played it myself, but the Deadly Six just do not seem very compelling at all. And I
They're
think
not. The story's awful. The Deadly Six are terrible. The music is pretty meh. I can firmly say this. I watched gameplay before I bought it to see, because I'm like, it can't be that bad. Playing it and watching it are two different things. Now, I was saying, like, part of what the Sonic Advance games don't understand is that Sonic needs to be able to go slow sometimes. Sonic Lost World just doesn't understand that Sonic's also supposed to be fast. First of all, there's a dedicated. I didn't even realize this till I was through the first world. You have to hold a button to make him run. So I was walking through all the levels and I was like, why is he so slow? And it sucked. But even with his run is like half the speed of how he's like in all the other games. He's very, very slow. And it feels very off putting. The other thing with Sonic Lost World is I know it's trying to be Mario Galaxy. And I appreciate their attempt. But the biggest problem I find with Sonic Lost World is that the levels are like very wide, but there's not really anything in them. I don't know. Like I'm actually like I feel like Lost World should be D. Like I wouldn't want to put it on the same level as Heroes personally. I don't know. I can put it C if that's where it should go, but like it's my bias speaking, but I do not think this game should be above Sonic 06. It's just not like it's similar to like Sonic 4. Like my opinion of Sonic 4, it's not even that it's necessarily bad. It's just it feels very lifeless. It's just it doesn't have a lot of charm. Like the story isn't great, the characters aren't great, the music isn't great. There's good things about it. It's definitely better than Sonic 4. It has some very redeemable qualities. The DLC is some like a high point of it. I don't think by any means is it a bad game. Like
is it a solid pass or is it a barely pass?
it's when I look at it, it's like I wish there was a tier between Sonic Heroes and Shadow the Hedgehog, because I don't think it's as bad as Shadow the Hedgehog, but I think there's more content there and more to play, and there's like more it offers than Shadow the Hedgehog or Secret Rings. I also wouldn't say that it's as good as like Sonic Heroes. You know, like I would still put
You can
Sonic
go
Heroes like
below
a level
Heroes.
above. I know, but I think it should be below 06.
We agreed that 06 is like the very least of C. And I doubt that Lost World has. And this is the problem with putting Sonic 06 in the C tier, because we're not going to be able to put anything above it. So C is a complete waste of a tier.
You can put things above it. It's just I don't think Sonic Lost World should be above it. Like I think that's the big thing. It's like I don't think, and like again, it goes back to the fact that I think Sonic 06 is a good game that's unpolished. Sonic Lost World is a mediocre game that is polished. So it's like at the end of the day, it's like what do you value more, I guess? Because like I even look at like Sonic Adventure and Adventure 2 as fairly unpolished games, but they have so much quality to them that it's like you can forgive that unpolished. You can forgive that lack of polish. And yeah, Sonic 06 is severely less polished than those games are, but it has so much more soul than Sonic Lost World. Like I don't know, like that's just how I feel
I
about
feel like
Sonic
you've just
Lost World.
described a perfect C tier game. Like D, there's an inherent flaw that prevents you from enjoying it, but it's not a failure of a game. That's what like I would define as D.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
I'd put it C, but under Heroes.
Yeah, no, it's 100% under Heroes. Like again, I think it should be under 06, but even though I'm the only one who's played this game and the only one who has an accurate representation, I guess that I'm not going to be able to get it under 06. So my 06 bias is so strong. There it goes into C. It's definitely better than Shadow and Secret Rings. I'll give you that. We're on to the next one. Sonic Mania.
I think this is the only other S tier game on this list.
Yes, I agree.
Yep. So is it better than Sonic 3 or not?
I think it is.
I would agree.
I agree as well.
Okay, that was easy.
Very
Sonic
easy.
Mania straight to the top.
The fans know what they want.
Yep.
And then the final game for us to place, Sonic Forces.
I want Sonic Forces in D. I hate Sonic Forces.
I think
I
this is another
disagree.
like C tier game.
This is a C tier game. This game is better than Sonic Lost World in every way. It is by no means a great game. It is definitely underwhelming. It definitely like in its marketing made promises it didn't follow through on. But this is a solid like I can play through this game and get no love nor hate of it. Like there's nothing bad about it. It's not unpolished.
No, it's just the thing I just don't like about Forces is that it kind of doesn't do justice to Sonic Mania or Sonic Generations.
It doesn't at all, and that's why I'm saying is like it's underwhelming. But I feel like it's like with Unleashed. I think you have to look at it through the lens of like how much are we judging it based off what came before it? Because that's ultimately what created Unleashed's negative opinion in all those years is the fact that it followed the adventure games and like it was the first boost style game and like it was in this portion when they were moving away from like character based games and like suddenly it was just Sonic again. It received a lot of hate. I think Forces is the same. I think Forces came at a point where people really thought Sonic was going to resurface. It had a couple good, like really great games in a row, with Generations and Mania. This game was marketed as a connection to both Mania and to Generations. It marketed itself as bringing back a ton of characters. It almost felt like this was going to be the resurgence of the adventure games and like the adventure style story, and it kind of fell flat, especially because of how they chose to approach it. But just from a gameplay perspective, and even from a story perspective, the story is a hell of a lot more interesting than Sonic Lost World. And the gameplay is not bad by any means. It's just watered down Generations.
It's like Generations, but it lacks everything that Generations did so well. Like Generations was this bright and charming game that paid respect to Sonic's past, whereas Forces is dark and dreary and the story's garbage and like it just the avatar is terrible. It looks awful. Like no matter what animal you pick, it's just terrible. And what they do with Infinite or what they did to all the villains in the game, especially Chaos and like it's just I think okay, gameplay is passable, but what good is the gameplay if nothing that's surrounding it is passable? Like it fails in every other aspect.
But see, I don't think it fails. I think it's underwhelming in every other aspect. I think that's the
I
big
would
thing.
agree
Is
with
I don't
Jules on
think it
this one.
fails. Like I think the story, yeah, it's not what it marketed itself to be. It's not what people wanted, but it's a hell of a lot better than things like Sonic Lost World and even Sonic Colors. Like at least it tries to do something new and like yeah, it does some stupid things and like yeah, the avatar like kind of looks stupid, but like the avatar gameplay is solid. Like it's fine.
I feel
The
like you could have
music,
given the Avatar stuff to like Tails as a playable
yeah,
character, like with the
exactly.
gadgets and things, right?
Yeah, and like the music is really really good. It's by no means the most memorable music, but it's very good. It's way more than a fail. It's way more than just a pass. It's solid. And like even like the gameplay is definitely watered down Generations. Like it doesn't have the same level of detail or the same like branching paths and like it's more like hold forward gameplay than stop and like think about what you're doing gameplay, but it's still by no means bad. It's just like I think it's a significantly lower quality than Generations and Colors and Unleashed. Like I think it's that step down, but I don't think it's as bad as like Shadow or Secret Rings. Like in my opinion, like I was struggling with Lost World. Like I don't think Lost World should go above Sonic 06. I think Forces is above Sonic 06. Like I definitely think it is because I don't think Forces is bad. Like I actually think Forces is just fine. Forces is the most C tier Sonic game out there.
Would you say it's better than Heroes?
I personally wouldn't put it better than Heroes, but I'm sure other people would. And that's the thing is I don't think it's bad. Like I like when I went to replay it now and I replayed it, I was like, oh, it's actually like not bad. I still like it wasn't memorable by any means. Like it wasn't incredible. It didn't blow me away, but It definitely wasn't bad. Like, I didn't feel like at any point like the game wasn't polished. I didn't feel at any point like there wasn't effort put into the game. I just feel like the direction was weird.
Yeah, and that's kind of like how I was feeling when I was playing through it also. Like I never finished Sonic Forces. I got about, I want to say, between a third and halfway through the game. Avatar character and like original character type of things were like the in thing was at that time when Forces came out. And I feel like they could have just given, as I said before, you could have just given all those gadget abilities and stuff to like Tails or a robot character or like one of the E100 robots if they want to do something like that and pay homage that way. And also kind of hitting on what Matteo said before, they kind of just ruined Chaos, and I really like Chaos as a boss.
Yeah. And I like Chaos too, and that's the thing, and that's why I'm trying to look at it as a lens of like, if we remove the like personal hits that we feel from this game, like things like they promised us Chaos and they promised us this and that, like they promised a sequel to Generations, they promised it was going to have ties to Mania, like if we just take it for what it is, I actually don't think it's that bad. I think what makes this game hated isn't the game itself, it's what people wanted the game to be. And I feel like that's fine and dandy. Like you're allowed to have your opinion, but I think if we just take a step back and look at the game itself isn't bad. It's just okay.
And if it's okay, that's a definition of what I believe what C is. It's passable. It's not great. It's just okay.
And especially coming off the coattails of like two of the best Sonic games, arguably the best Sonic games of all time, Mania and Generations, and people expecting it to be those games and it wasn't, like I can see why it was hated. Because like those are like two of the most beloved and two of the best Sonic games. So of course, a game that was marketed to have story connections to Mania and like theme connections to Mania and then also like a similar structure and gameplay to Generations, and then it ended up being like a really watered down version of both. Of course, like that makes it seem like the worst game ever, but I just don't think it's as bad as a lot of the community thinks, and I don't think it's a D.
As long as it's under Sonic Heroes, that's fine, I guess.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it above Heroes.
I think it should be above Lost World.
Yeah, put it between Lost World and Heroes.
Okay, there we go. And then now we can move Sonic 06 back to its rightful place right here.
No, it stays in that corner.
Nope, it's right there. In fact, it should be moving over.
Yes,
over here.
behind everything where it can't be seen. Perfect.
Exactly.
Stop being mean to Sonic 06. It's
I'm actually looking forward to playing Sonic 06, like and Lost World. Like I bought so many Sonic games recently, and just I want to have a good time playing a lot of these meh or bad games.
Well, anyway, that brings us to the end of our Sonic the Hedgehog tier list. Here's our final product that you can
Are
see.
we happy with this?
I'm very happy with this list. I think this is a very solid. Like, I don't actually feel like this was tough. Like, I don't think there were any big battles.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think everywhere where it mattered, like, things got through. I'm happy that Sonic the Hedgehog 06 is in the C tier. So this is just very solid. Like, I think this is a very, very solid list. I don't necessarily agree with the ordering of everything, but I pretty much agree with the tiers of everything. Like, I don't think the tiers are off. I think that almost everything is in the tier it should be.
Some of the ordering might vary person to person, but this is a pretty good like average amalgamation of like what the three of us at least think. And I like how Sonic the Hedgehog is almost smack in the middle as kind of like, okay, here's the center, here's our fulcrum, just say, and it's kind of balanced left and right.
Oh, I see, Gino. You want Sonic the Hedgehog in the middle. There you
No,
go.
we're not talking about.
No,
No,
not
we're not
that
talking about
one.
that one. No, put that shit back.
When we play through the other games, like you said with Sonic Rush Adventure, Black Knight, the advanced games, even like when Sonic Frontiers comes out, like if we update
Where will it
this,
go? Yeah, maybe we do a little at some point an update.
yeah.
Maybe
Like,
you should
to
say
do.
we should do a bit of a Sonic shuffle. Eh?
Oh god.
Not the game. I'm talking about like shuffling around.
We'd
with
have to
this.
create a new tier for Sonic Shuffle.
Yep, that is
Yeah.
like Mega F.
That is like, yeah.
That tier Mega F.
But yeah, maybe we'll revisit it and in the future, maybe we can play some of the other games. But in any case,
That brings us to the end of today's quest. If you liked what you heard here today, hit that like, subscribe, or follow button below. We do read all the comments, and thanks for joining us on this journey of Sonic Month. If you want to contribute to the conversation, let us know any ideas for upcoming quests, or just share your thoughts. Leave us a comment. We do read them all. Anyway, that's it from us here at the Hub World. Matteo, anything you'd like to say?
Yep. Sega remasters Sonic Adventure, and Microsoft announced Banjo at this year's Microsoft presentation. See you, everybody.
Yep.